One of the main differences that I think a lot of civilian advocates and attorneys notice when they engage with the military system are the different options for reporting. When it comes to military justice, survivors have options that can look a little different in the military system than they do in the civilian justice system. Can you talk a little bit about restricted reporting, unrestricted reporting, and the no reporting options and some of the main differences between these?
Absolutely. Thank you, Becca. So first of all, we're going to talk about no reporting. Victims of sexual assault within the military always have the option under current policy to be able to receive certain services, not all services, but limited services from the SAPR and SHARP victim advocates, as well as from legal advocates as well, just like Lieutenant Colonel Watson. No reporting just means that we are not actually filling out any paperwork. We're just putting notes into DSED, the Defense Sexual Information Database, and we are getting survivors in contact with behavioral health, medical care, pastoral care. Restricted reporting means that they are filling out paperwork with a SARC or a victim advocate. A SARC is a sexual assault response coordinator. And then that paperwork is kept with the SAPR or SHARP personnel. And then we document that in DSED and provide them with resources. This restricted reporting option provides a survivor the opportunity to receive resources, to gain help, but not actually go through the criminal justice investigative or criminal justice process. It allows them to get to a better mental and emotional state while they decide whether or not they want to go unrestricted. Restricted reporting allows them to participate in the CATCH program. This is to catch serial offenders, and it allows them to anonymously enter information about their assault and the alleged offender into a database that is then tracked by military criminal justice systems through the CID, AFOSI, and NCIS. Then last, we have unrestricted reporting. Unrestricted reporting is when a survivor decides that they do want to have that investigative option with the military criminal justice or criminal investigative organization, depending upon if they're Army, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, what have you, investigating what happened. And then, of course, it would fall on civilian local law enforcement if the incident occurs off the installation. And that's where we get into helping support a survivor as an advocate as they navigate the civilian justice system as well. Both restricted and unrestricted reporting and no reporting allow a lot of resources. Restricted and unrestricted are the only official reports, and unrestricted is the only way that a survivor would actually be able to participate in the investigation and receive SAPR or SHARP services simultaneously. Last, what we don't have listed here is an independent investigation, and this is the rare occurrence when law enforcement is notified of an incident of sexual assault, but the SAPR or SHARP personnel have zero or little involvement with that survivor. Victim has elected not to receive services from SAPR or SHARP, and they may or may not be participating with the law enforcement investigation.
And Leah, I want to double check and see if there's anything that you would like to add on the topics of reporting, restricted reporting, no reporting, and unrestricted reporting.
So a lot of those key nuts and bolts, because this is the role of the victim advocate, and that initial process is where they're coming in. everything that Freya said is that key aspect. With the first question about when is representation by a military victim rights attorney an option, so that actually is, in some cases, it's a greater option than availability to a sexual assault response coordinator or victim advocate, only in that we can represent military connected victims, not just for sexual assault, but also for domestic violence because of a change that was made in the law back in 2021. And then each service, as their views, we have sometimes exceptions to policy for expanding that to others who are eligible for legal assistance, who are victims of crimes. Depending on their service, they can just come into a legal assistance office and get a certain amount of legal assistance. Whether that's going to be full into a court is typically only being offered for people who are victims of a sexual assault or domestic violence. But that's sometimes where a person may not have a victim advocate and just have an attorney. More often we'll see situations where someone will elect to have a victim advocate, but then not elect to have an attorney. You get to have both. And I always tell folks, if you think you might want one, ask for one so that way you can talk confidentially with an attorney and we can be able to help you make a choice as to whether you wish to have one. Military victims attorneys never cost you anything.
And then one more follow-up question for you. Could you talk a little bit about who might have access to restricted reporting? Is it only military folks? Is that ever an option for civilians? What is the situation there as well?
All yours, Freya.
Oh, yes. Okay, so with the restricted reporting option, this is actually only for service members and for dependent family members over the age of 18, as well as DoD civilians. They only have unrestricted reporting option currently. The SAPR and SHARP programs did do a trial run for DoD civilians to have the option for unrestricted reporting, for restricted reporting, and they discovered that the number of individuals that chose to file restricted was not high enough to justify maintaining that option. So civilians still currently only have unrestricted reporting or no reporting.
Great, thank you. We know some changes are underway, at least as of, I think, November. The law has changed and things might be moving towards an option for civilians in cases of sexual assault to have access to that restricted reporting option. But as we all know, changes take some time to get in place and move along. So hopefully moving forward, that answer will also be a little different as well.